Just so everyone's aware, Chambers is unmuted and we are live.
What?
You got a
Route one.
let's see.
No, you can share it.
No, it's all right. I don't need, I just.
Oh,
So that's right.
Signs, somebody picked them up.
I could toss them. I didn't know if that's what.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Well, cause I called Ginny.
We got a big
Told her I'm gonna go
gift.
sit behind her in Auburn.
Oh, nice. You better drive her crazy.
Brett,
It will feel correct to me. It's that's what it's supposed to be.
Brian.
I'm comfortable with it. That's right.
Yeah, I put them together and I have a hanging,
Yep.
you know what I mean? You know.
Yep.
Creative. I'm not creative players.
What are you?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Amanda, are you there?
Yeah, I didn't know if anyone heard. Chambers is
Or
unmuted.
I can't hear a thing you're saying.
Hi,
Tricia.
All right, we're all here. I'll call the meeting to order. Can you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America. And to the republic
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Just make sure Amanda can hear us. Amanda, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys not hear me?
Yep.
You can? Okay, perfect.
All right, well, I'll start with, there's a public hearing. I'll open that up. If you wish to speak on the public hearing regarding the shared services plan, please call 315-294-8051. Again, 315-294-8051. I don't think anyone in Chambers wants to speak. So, having said that, we'll move on. Minutes to approve, please.
Move it.
Motion, could I have a second, please?
Nightingale, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have no appointments. First up, getting into the meat of it, we have, I believe, Mr. Camardo is here representing the Board of Elections.
You have my report. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions, concerns? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Amanda, is Sheila on? Yeah, Sheila's on too. Anything to add?
Not at this time. I do have two resolutions. Do you want to do those now or later?
We can dispense with them now. Want to take them one at a time or?
Oh, it's up to you. I can read them.
So let's see, does anyone want to offer them as a bundle or would they like them separated for discussion? We're speaking of GO2 and GO3. They're authorizing the chairman to extend contract for Auctions International and with an agreement with the Municipal Workers Compensation Alliance.
Move them as a bundle.
All right, motion. Get a second.
Nightingale.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Discussion on the bundle or questions for Sheila? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you,
Thank
Sheila.
you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Palermo, but I believe Mr. Westfall is pitch hitting.
I've got about 2 seconds or 2 minutes. So Jonathan Ward, who was hired as some social services attorney, started, I don't know, Monday of last week. We've assigned him about 20% of the cases, so he's getting up and running. We assigned him the cases on Friday. We're still struggling in the county attorney's office to get the work done on the municipal side. I like to tell people I'm now a social services attorney doing municipal work. So continue to bear with us on getting the municipal side done and going forward. I think Mr. Graham may have brought the same part of the same topic up last month. So we're still struggling a little bit with that. So please bear with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Westfeld. Questions, comments, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, and you did hire one person for Wednesday, right? For,
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, we have a part-timer who is doing the child support work. He comes in on Wednesdays. So that's also been a help. Forgot about that. Thank you.
All right. Looks like there's no discussion or questions. So we'll move on. Mr. Dwyer, he's here. She does have one resolution. You guys would like to dispense with that now? Would someone like to offer GO1 at this point?
Thank you. Move GO1.
Second.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Okay, this is just an agreement, a contractual agreement. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. All right, before we go on, I want to make sure again to remind that there is a public hearing and that it is open for comment. Again, the number 315-294-8051. On to IT, Mr. Bo.
yes.
Yeah.
And maybe I missed it, but did you do the minutes to approve?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry.
Well, now you got me thinking. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you.
So good evening. You have my report. The only thing that I did want to add, I think it got cut off because of my lengthy report, but that is the health fair that we had last week. Just wanted to touch on that quickly. It was an overwhelming success. We had over 20 local vendors participate. Provided health screenings, demonstrations, activities, and raffles for our county staff. We had several hundred county staff that did attend the event up here on the 6th floor. It went very, very well. And I just wanted to take a moment just to thank the entire Cayuga Gold team. I'm just one small part of it, truly a team effort, and I could not have help. That includes Shireen Androsco, Diane Ferris from HR, Chelsea Heath, Kim Diger, O'Grady, and John Evans. So again, thank you all so much for your help with that. That's my report.
Okay, before we move into, he has two resolutions. Before we move into those, are there any questions for Mr. Bunn before the resolutions?
Just a comment to say that that's great, and I thought to have that much participation and to prioritize health and wellness for county employees is so important. I was really excited to see that go forward. We saw all the tables lined up last week after the event, and staff were buzzing about it, that it was a real success. So great job.
Thank you so much.
All right, other questions? So, two resolutions for IT. If someone would like to, I'll entertain them for GO4 and 5 as a bundle, otherwise fire away with them individually.
I move it.
As a bundle?
Yes, sir.
Motion on GO4, 4 and 5 is a bundle. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Putcher. Discussion on the bundle.
Hi, just a question,
Sure.
Mr. Bunn. How long is it gonna take to convert over? You talked about it before to the domain.
The .gov domain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so initially, we're gonna kind of take this in phases. We're gonna start with Board of Elections because that is the one that the state is kind of mandating us to do first.
Yeah, that's right.
But we are gonna set it up kind of in tandem with the county .us address. And then we will use email aliasing and website redirection. So both will kind of maintain and operate, in tandem. And then when we finally get ready to cut over, we can kind of do that as a planned implementation, if you will. So.
Great.
Yep.
Thanks.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, I have to confess, Sue, I was in a hurry, so we dispensed with your resolution already, but if you'd like to talk, I'd give you the opportunity. But first, I'd like to say congratulations to Mr. Scanlon. And I'm pleased to see that you're here already working with Sue. So welcome.
Appreciate that.
Well, we're over at the Record Center a lot
Don and I especially going through a lot of records and box after box after box. It's just unbelievable, but it's moving forward. And then in the meantime, Michael McNeil, the Records Retention Administrator, is working with departments and trying to, get them into the groove of what you're gonna be doing with your records. And I know that there's also a plan for the DA's office to do some of their own work, and that's gonna be coming up, and we'll be talking about that. So other than that, if you have any questions or.
Questions for Sue? All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Sue. So we are on to Mr. Swab with veterans. Kevin, are you on?
Yeah, I just have to wake up. You have my report is submitted, keeping busy with routine actions with claims and transportation to appointments, but also doing a lot of outreach at events around the area. And that's going to continue as we go forward. Sometimes we only meet 1 or 2 veterans, but it's worth it when we can connect them to benefits. So that's where we're moving. We're going to continue doing that. Obviously, Veterans Day is this weekend. There are events there's an event down in Moravia at the VFW, the Auburn Memorial Park. These are all 11. That's the traditional time of Veterans Day ceremonies is 11 o'clock. And then tomorrow at the Weedsport Elementary School, they have their annual USO show going on. It's at the elementary school, not at the high school, because the high school is undergoing renovation. And at that event, I will be awarding Robert Geralaman our Veteran Service Award with a proclamation and a donation to a organization he works with to support veterans and nursing programs. So that's going to be a pretty good thing. If any of you know Bob Geralaman, he is a wonderful human being. He's a very hard worker, Vietnam veteran. And since I've been in this position, he's been an inspiration to me, well earned for this recognition. If there are no other questions, that's what I have.
Yes, first, Mark, if I can, I just wanted to echo, I know Mr. Drallman, he's a paragon of an individual, just absolutely outstanding. And I just wanted to say that, I guess. So go ahead.
Kevin, I know we had an individual from this county given the distinct honor to go down and place the wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier. If you would like to go ahead and talk about that, or if you want, I can finish a little bit.
I was not a part of that, so I will yield to you.
Okay. Gentleman, 95-year-old veteran of World War II. His first name is Marty. Hans, can you help me with his last name?
DeFazio.
Yeah, DeFazio. 95-year-old World War II veteran. Was given the distinct honor last week to go down and place the wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier. A great opportunity. You might have seen the article in the paper. I think Bob, Hans, and I, we shoot with that gentleman every week. He's 95 years old and he doesn't miss a step. So what an honor. What an honor to know him, and what an honor for him to go down there and do that. So thank you.
Elaine?
Kevin, I just have a curious question. Under significant activities, you talked about visited Westminster Manor. Is that for exposure to the facility, or I don't understand.
No, that was to visit veterans and widows who are there.
Oh, so
That's
you were
part of
visiting
our-
the residents?
Yes.
Okay.
So, we have veterans who are in these facilities, and, I visited the 55 plus facility out there off of Standard Ave several months ago. It's all part of connecting to veterans and finding where they are and see if they could be eligible for benefits. And in some cases, just talking to them and listening to their stories. And each time I go somewhere, I'll learn a little bit of something that I can tie into the piece of the puzzle. And so I'm available, or if not me, then one of the people who works in the office are available to visit facilities like that. It's just as we get invited, we attend.
Okay, further questions, comments? Anything further for you to add, Mr. Swab?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you, sir. All right, I do believe, council, do you think we have one more resolution? Should we dispense with the resolution and have some more time on the clock for the public hearing? Or,
That would be my recommendation.
okay, thank you, sir. All right, final resolution of the evening is for Cayuga Community College. Student capital request plan. I do believe we have someone from the college on if there's questions. So, but first to get us rolling, can we have a motion and a second, please?
Nightingale, second.
Okay, thank you. So motion and a second. Is there discussion on G06? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Right. So at this time, I'll move to close the hearing. Do we need to take a vote on that?
No, just close the
Okay,
hearing.
so we're
There'll be
closing.
more, there'll be subsequent hearings the rest of the month.
Okay. And then, so otherwise, if there's no new business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Just a reminder, our next meeting for this is Wednesday, December 6th. So, it's changed because of the holidays, so make sure you put that down on your calendars, please.
Wednesday, December 6th. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Petcher, I think I heard a motion to adjourn from you. Second?
Second?
I was wondering what was, thank you. My heart dropped there. All in favor? Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, Chris.
Planning will do planning in 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, not manufactured, but yeah, it'll be good to together. The county clerk, in my case. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I appreciate all that you do. You're my friend.
Just
so everyone's aware, Chambers is unmuted.
Anyway, I just want to say congratulations. You remember Leanna and Josh?
Right.
Yeah. So Leanna and Josh, they were with us the last time. Congratulations. Young kids for helping us out. I don't know how many people, like, I was very close to them. Oh, okay. I raised them still, they're still up at my house and I said, they were babies.
Never easy.
My first one on nine. After an hour of listening.
And are you okay? You all set?
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, I'm all set. We're
Okay, Bobby.
unmuted.
It's up to Bob.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call the planning meeting to order.
Everybody?
I mean, I'm glad they did it.
Right.
Thank you very much.
But I need more.
What are you doing? You all right?
And for the pledge of allegiance, please.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm a little black and blue, but it's fine.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Minutes to approve, October 11th.
Move it, Basile.
Second, Clarka?
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion? Opposed? Carried. No appointments. Mr. Lynch, reports.
Good evening, everybody. You have my report. It's pretty extensive. A couple of things I would point out is we went to Lemoyne College to present the 3 Village New York Forward applications last week. I think the date is in there. Anyway, it went very well. We're trying to be optimistic, but not trying to get our hopes up too far in case none of them move forward. But I think there were less DRI applications than we anticipated. So we're hopeful that we might get a DRI, which is a downtown revitalization initiative, out of that for the combined villages of Aurora, Union Springs, and Cayuga, which would be good. What's not in my report is we've been working very closely in the last 3 weeks with the current village mayor of Weedsport and meeting with some of the developers in Weedsport. I don't know if anyone has been through Weedsport lately, but there are a number of individuals investing in the buildings in Weedsport, bringing investment and money into the village, redoing some of the buildings, and we've been meeting with them and really encouraging them. And sometimes you don't have to go get grants. Sometimes you just have to work with the people that are actively doing things and let the private sector do what it wants. There's one resolution on for tonight. I'd be happy to speak to that, Mr. Chairman. This is, you might consider this a cleanup resolution. I would note that it does need a 2/3 majority because it is, right?
At the full.
Oh, it's a full ledge, it needs a 2/3, thank you. When we first put in for the dredging money, we were splitting the overall among 6 counties. Oswego County found another source of funds to do their own work. So now we're splitting the same shared amount among 5 counties. So you previously authorized about 10,500, and this adds another 2,000 or so. The exact numbers are in the resolution. And it needs to come from the general fund, right? So that's why a full ledger would need a lot of money. A full 2/3 of it.
Okay.
I'll move it.
Second, Basile.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any questions? Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Steve, I know, you've been down this road a couple of times. The buoy is out of the lake at this point in time, the Wasco Lake, I think.
I believe they take it out for the winter time for sure.
Yes, I'm just wondering, I know we had agreed that once the buoy was out and the data was collected, we would get a report or a copy of that report.
Yeah, absolutely. That will be pending. The Finger Lakes Institute is putting that data together. They created a new data portal so that it's a little bit more extensive than the last time that they did the reporting. And I will certainly let the whole body know when that is ready. And when it is ready, it'll be up on the website and everything, but I'll certainly let you know so you can go.
Did they answer an RFP or did you put that out? Remember there was this concern about collecting the data, but we didn't have a lab to analyze it?
We did an RFP last year
Yeah.
and we only got one response.
From them?
From them, yeah.
Yes, okay. So they're going to do the analysis again.
Right.
Thank you, Steve.
So, thank you.
Hans?
Steve, the garbage, solid waste management plan update. Is this gonna lead to the county taking over garbage collection or some such thing, or?
No, not at all. When we presented it, well, a couple of times to the full body, looking at the recommendations, there was you can go from here, doing what we're doing now, which is relatively minimal. Towns taking care of their own garbages, villages taking care of their own garbage, county staff doing recycling events, et cetera. That's where we are now. All the way across the spectrum to some counties that have their own landfills and so on and so forth. And it was our sense from the body that there really didn't want to be any changes, didn't want to start adding activities and services into that spectrum. So the local solid waste management plan is pretty much status quo where we're at right now.
And how soon is it that the Auburn landfill is gonna close?
The Auburn landfill is closed in 2021.
Okay.
And it acts as a transfer station now. So the trash that residents in the city of Auburn bring in and some that come from outside gets primarily taken to Seneca Meadows. And what doesn't go to Seneca Meadows, some of it will go further out to Ontario to a landfill.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Are those the two closest to us then, Seneca Meadows and Ontario?
They are the two closest. Yes.
So if Seneca Meadows was to close, then Ontario would be the next one.
It would, unless somebody would open up another landfill, yes.
Okay.
Any more for Steve?
Am I off the hook?
You're off the hook. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. Kelly, employment and training?
Good evening, everybody. You have my report. I don't have anything to add or highlight tonight. However, I do want to address Tricia's question from the last committee meeting. I spoke briefly about the transfer the VR headsets that we have. We do have 15 that we share with the other areas in the region. We will have 5 on site in employment and training, so that's great. I didn't expect that. That way I don't have to try to sign out all 15, we'll have 5, and if we want to get, increase that, we can do so. But you did ask what type of information is loaded on our headsets. And I did get my hands on the catalog. I am the trainer for the headsets, so right now CCC is looking at using them, and I'll participate with them in their activity because we can share them with the Department of Labor, but even a partner that's somewhat separated, but they are a partner, I would have to be part of the process with that. But just quickly to answer Trisha's question, the headsets actually have information on manufacturing, trades, warehouse, public safety, hospitality, tourism, automotive, career exploration in general. There's a healthcare segment. So they're fully loaded with, the first discipline is manufacturing and construction. And then based on that, it breaks it down into safety, precision measurements, blueprint reading, moves into hospitality and tourism. From there, it goes to automotive, diesel technology. They have a wide range of aviation maintenance. So they're loaded with everything, all different sectors, lots of exposure, industry exposure, electrical construction. So again, it's virtual reality. It's not going to train someone to go out and do this job in full, but it's going to, especially for youth, give them the initial exposure to say, "Ooh, this is what this looks like. This is what it's about." It might pique their interest. So we're going to plan on doing some activities with these in the near future, but they are there's something that I want to promote to businesses and to some of the training providers like CCC, and just kind of get our hands wet with this because it is a new adventure for us. But it's a full curriculum, and I can share the curriculum with you if you're interested. But other than that, if there's any questions on my report, I'm happy to entertain them. Sure.
Is agriculture one of the industry sectors?
There's so many. I don't want to say,
You don't have to go
now. But I'll look. Yeah, I'll let you know. There's plant science, I think, in here. But again, I can take a deeper delve into it. But
okay, yeah, if you don't mind, I would.
Sure. Yeah. And I do have 2 resolutions. Employment training has 2 resolutions tonight. I will present on the first one, and then Diane Ferris is here and she'll present on the second, if that's okay. So ET, Workforce Development Program Specialist, authorizing to fill a Workforce Development Program Specialist in the Employment and Training Department due to a retirement, a sad retirement.
Okay, in my paperwork, that's PL2. Is that what you have?
It's PL2 on the
Okay,
agenda.
just to make it clear. So we won't bundle them, but I'll entertain a motion to approve PL2.
I'll move PL2.
Second, Basile.
Okay, all in favor? Any discussion? Carried. Okay, and I'm gonna ask Diane to present PL1.
Good evening, everyone. I was asked to review the job specification for the Director of Employment and Training and to make sure it aligned her salary with her current job duties and the expansion of her duties recently. Mainly to do with the responsibilities as far as our workforce crisis goes and needing to develop that workforce for the future, especially with the Micron project that's coming in and the boards and various volunteering that she's been doing throughout this year. So we did look internally and externally to ensure that she was aligned with other people in the similar position. And so my recommendation is within the resolution to raise her salary.
And this salary funds come out of the grant?
Yeah.
And not come
Yeah,
out?
it's 100% funded by the money that she receives for her program.
Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Second, Basile.
Second, discussion, questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there something in the grant or in the resolution that specifies that if the grant funding goes away, so does the position or the additional funding required?
We did not put that in here. I know that this money has been available. I don't anticipate that it would go away. So, and I know that, salaries are, the budget is monitored carefully to ensure that they're not taking money out of programming to ensure that these salaries are, paid for out of that. So that's all being monitored. So I'm assuming that, the funding will continue. And then if we need to address it at that time, then we would look at it at that time.
This funding also covers Cortland County.
Yes, it's a grant that's shared between the Cortland
counties,
and
yes.
County for these programs. Thank you.
So that was kind of similar to, I was just curious how long that grant's been going on and then what we predict.
I can answer that.
I'm gonna have another answer.
Because I have another question for you, but it's
Sure.
way too quick.
Sure, so the grant has actually, so it went from JTPA back in the years long before me. And then since I think it was 1976, we've been working under WIOA, and then in 2014, it switched to WIOA. So went from JTPA to WIOA. We've been funded since the 70s and have not lost our funding. Also, part of our budget is that amount of money, but we also have a jobs contract through the county. So we do have additional funding coming through, but our funding's been in place since the 70s.
Is that like a federal program that funds that or?
Correct, it is federal.
Federal,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Way over there.
Chris?
I'm curious why this is coming to us right now versus looking at it through the budget process. And you mentioned you were asked to look at this, and was it by our chair or?
Yes, it was by legislator Shea and by Chairman Gould.
Okay. And in terms of looking at it right now versus going through the budget process and making adjustments at that time?
Because of the way the grant money is for this program, their new cycle starts June 1st. So we needed to look at it now to ensure that the request was put into that so that they knew how the money was being spent and then go through the process here to get the approval for it. So, and then we would make the change now, and then because of the way if there is a general increase then for other non-bargaining staff, this position would be exempt from that because of the change being made now, rather than at the first of the year. And so it's already been planned in her budget cycle. It's just different than what the county budget cycle's on for timing.
And I guess, is the increase related to added responsibility?
Correct, yes.
Part of my concern with that, and I think it's a slippery slope, is that a lot of our department heads have added responsibilities all the time. And there's a lot of different people working on Micron and various aspects, not to say this has nothing to do with performance or anything like that, but I'm curious if we're opening up a can of worms here, looking at this in this way when there's other department heads that are constantly faced with new responsibilities and obligations that they have to adjust to and take on, but aren't necessarily getting salary adjustments for them.
So we will be looking at all of the non-bargaining positions in 2024. So we'll be taking into consideration those responsibilities and increases and changes too at that time. We're just doing this one a couple months earlier in advance of that study being done.
Just from the timing of the grants.
Right.
Okay.
I guess was there an issue? I know we did a similar adjustment to the OFA director because when we looked from an internal equity position, that the recommendation was that needed to be adjustment. Is this similar, or is it all related to the grant that I don't even understand the grant argument that's starting in June, but
It's started with the additional responsibilities and what's going on with the workforce development and everything with Micron coming into the county and preparing the youth for those positions and other positions that will hopefully develop from that and working in that area. And just knowing that, you know, the workforce is kind of decreasing, so it places more emphasis on making sure that people are ready for the jobs that are available and are going to be coming up. I'm sorry.
I'm looking at, you know, about other departments here, the internal equity
well,
about
right,
that
and then
as well.
obviously we wanted to look at other positions within that grouping that she's in, and there were a couple of people who are not at a director level position, but are serving as deputies whose salaries were slightly higher.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, we did check with Cortland County, her counterpart down in Cortland County. And that Kelly will be making the same thing as her counterpart in Cortland County. And it's all through the grant.
I've not sat on the committee. I just feel like we've been facing these some one-offs through the course of the last couple of years, a year and a half. And, you know, it's concerning to me that we're trying to reach internal equity, but in the end, it's sort of all unbalanced because by the time we do a salary survey, we adjusted some people, other people are going to feel out of adjustment. So far the arguments that are, you know, being offered today, I don't quite understand, you know, why we're doing this right now. Like I said, this is a great discussion for budget time. And I just don't know why it's on today's agenda.
Good. So just from a business aspect and what we're going through in the business world, that we're constantly faced with this now. We're hiring people that I've been in the business 44 years and we're hiring people making more money than me just to get people, to get them with less experience, less qualifications. It is a challenge for all of our employees. I think you're going to be facing it for a little bit longer. There'll be a few more years of who's getting this and who's getting that, and what the business sector's getting. The difference is in the government world, and this isn't anything against the employees, they do a great job, but they want to get the same money that the private sector's getting, except the private sector gets 6 holidays and they get 13. You know, the private sector doesn't get as many vacation days and so forth. So until someone wants to make a decision as to when we're going to start dealing with things that way, no one in the private sector buys people their work clothes. We do. Our highway department, they all get they get a clothes allowance. But until you want to start dealing with some of these things like you do in the business world, I think that's what you're going to be up against. You're going to continue to do it. It's going to be a vicious cycle for a few more years until it settles down.
Go ahead.
I think we've made off-cycle decisions before. For example, I think that we've changed the chairman's salaries over the course of the last few years up and down. I think that it's fair that we take a look at this on an individual basis unless you want to warrant a committee and a larger project where somebody's required to look at everybody's jobs at the same time. So I think this makes perfect sense.
So that would come in the way of a salary study, which is all planned for 2024. So that's the charge of our HR department to do that, to lay that all out, talk about internal equity, talk about making sure folks are in the right grades. So that's why I feel as though we need to, you know, unless it's an emergent situation, we should hold off until we can really get a full glance at everyone in this county. And you're right, we probably are facing a huge increase, but I'd like to do that across the board with a clear understanding. So that's just where I stand.
The way I hear it is, this would be removed from that 2024 plan, correct?
Yes.
we would, this position would still be looked into that, but more than likely there would not be any additional adjustment because of it happening now. I don't anticipate seeing any huge discrepancy when we look at the data in the future because of the recent salary study that was just done among the counties that was released through NISAC as far as these positions.
And we had, my understanding is we had to do it now because of the grant requirements to get ahead of it. She's been working behind that level for so long, doing the work, putting in her own time. And then we thought, you know, maybe this is time while the grant is being submitted, it comes out of grant funding, it would be appropriate to give her somewhat of a more equitable increase. So, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I mean, we had a meeting about this. We studied this. Diane went through the records. We've talked about this probably for months, actually. And you're right, the calendar year for her grant is June to July or June to May. So July, June to, okay, whatever it is, not ours. But I mean, she deserves this because her counterpart again in Cortland is making the same thing. It's a smaller county. And if she doesn't get this money and use this money, it's all returned to the state, every bit of it that she doesn't use in her budget. She budgets it. This is not a county budget. This is her budget out of a grant. So Kelly deserves it. That's the way I feel. Certainly be voting.
What was that, Elaine?
No, I just said, we're talking about, you know, the grants again, but, you know, just my opinion. You have been looking at this for months, you said. This is the first time even the committee has even considered the fact that this has even been looked at. There was some equity issue, the grant was coming up, so there's no time to react except you see a resolution.
We didn't have all the information until last week. So there was nothing to bring to you till we had the salaries and compatible with other counties till not last week.
You looked at Portland and other counties as well?
Correct, yes.
So the only thing is probably the way it was presented. Usually you get a month or something, or someone takes you, brings you something, shows it to you, and then it comes up at the next meeting. But with that said, I'm ready to call the question. Let's get it going. Let's vote.
Yes, this is a question. You call the question.
Let's vote. Ready to vote?
Someone needs a second that.
To call the question. Oh, it's a second for the call of the question? I'll second.
I have additional questions.
You know what, let me say this.
I'm not on this committee either.
It's really bizarre that you ask your question, nobody can respond, you call the question.
Anytime anybody can.
Anybody can, but it's.
Did I do anything wrong?
It's really odd. It's odd that you just do that. You ask your question.
I think there's a call to question.
Yeah.
You can, do you vote to call the question or you don't? So you take a vote if people want to call the question or they don't.
Well, he has a second.
You gotta vote. It's up to the chairman to ask for a vote.
All right, take the vote.
For the calling the question.
Yeah.
Okay, take a vote.
Aye.
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 No.
No.
Got 4 and 3.
Can I see just the no's? Was it 3 no's? Can I see a raise of hands?
Yeah, you're gonna, so the no's.
All right, got it. Thank you. It did pass, but just wanted to make sure I documented.
To call the question.
Correct.
Is there a time I can make a comment?
No.
On the question?
No, not after it's been voted on. I mean, that's just the rules, Brian. I don't make the rules.
I didn't know because like, I thought that, you know, if anybody had a comment on not on the matter, but on the calling the question.
If it had been voted down, you could absolutely ask anything you want.
No, I think he's asking for procedural question on.
Procedural
calling the question.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. If it was voted down, then you can go back to discussion.
Calling the question. I just want to make a comment. I don't know if I could, if the next thing is it open for comments. Because Because right now we call the question, and we just done, and we're gonna vote on it?
Yes.
That's it? Okay, I just wanna know.
That's just the rules.
No, I'm not questioning, it's just a general question.
Right. Where are we?
Voting
No,
on
you gotta
it.
vote.
Okay.
Gotta vote for the,
Move it.
gotta vote for the
Well,
resolution.
I think it's been moved and seconded.
All right, all in favor?
So we need to just vote.
So
Opposed?
I'm opposed at this time. I do have additional questions. I'll submit them and before the full legislature, maybe have some clarity on timing of things and whatnot. But for right now, I don't know. I feel like it's not necessarily fair to the rest of our departments. Be one-off things.
All right, PL one is carried.
This will be brought up at Ways and Means. Questions can be answered again at that and the full ledge.
Thank you. Just restart CETA.
Evening. I'm Maureen Meester, the Economic Development Specialist for CETA, and the October report was submitted, but just to highlight a few of the items in that report, there were some links to some articles. I hope everyone had a chance to view that Business in Focus article. So Auburn's DRI, there is still a round 3 for small project grant funds. There's some money left in that, and applications are due November 17th. So for those legislators in the city of Auburn with businesses in the downtown revitalization district, be sure to make sure your constituents know about that grant that's available. Also, for Moravia, their New York Forward process has been moving quite quickly. At the end of October, a final slate of projects was voted upon and submitted to New York State for their final review and award. Also, I do want to emphasize the work that Steve Lynch and his group did with the applications for New York Forward and the joint DRI between the villages of Cayuga, Union Springs, and Aurora. They had a very strong application. In all, there were 3 DRI applications and 13 individual New York Forwards. Also, Camoin Associates, by the end of November this month, should have their final draft of the strategic plan, updating that from 2015 for the whole central New York region. And in addition to that, submitting for the Central New York Regional Challenge of $10 million. The challenge that Central New York region focused to address was the population and talent attraction and retention. We've had a few meetings on that, and that looks pretty competitive as well. 3 regions out of the 10 regions in New York State will win $10 million to address that challenge. Are there any questions on any of the items in the report?
Maureen, thank you for your report. The regional challenge application, that's statewide? And when do those proposals go in?
I don't know the exact date. They need to have this pretty much wrapped up, so I think it's probably sometime in November.
And in terms of the application coming from our region, are you involved in that, or Cayuga County representatives involved in that?
Yes, this is the Regional Economic Development Council, and Cayuga County has representation on that. I hold one of the seats. Also, Todd Dumont does. The county and the city also have ex officio seats, so Chairman Gould and Mayor Quill. Steve Lynch and Jenny Haynes regularly attend those meetings.
Okay.
So
great.
Have Cayuga County representation, and I do speak.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
There have been some issues around CETA. And I don't know if it's appropriate to ask this, but can we go to executive session to discuss that? Because I have some questions that I'm not sure if it's appropriate to bring out in the open now. Point of order.
So are you saying for just the matter leading to the
appointment, employee, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
Yes.
All right,
Motion,
motion for executive session,
I think I moved that.
Do you need a second?
Second.
So you're asking me to attend this?
I don't know that that's appropriate at this point.
I think so. Okay.
all right,
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a
Do we have
second.
to vote on that?
Gotta vote on it.
all right. All in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Carried.
I don't know how that works. That would be probably a Brittany question. Like, Brittany, does only the committee members go into this or any legislator?
Any legislator can go in executive session.
Executive session.
All right. Get that.
Now you just need a second and then a full vote.
You're stragglers. I moved to come out of executive session.
You realize you're actually.
You want a second, that, Trish?
We're just not saying it the same way.
Yep.
We have a move and a second, Chairman.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's you.
Yeah, perfect. All right, I have a motion and a second to come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anybody opposed? Carried. All right, so we finished the report. Maureen, are you done or you want? Do you have any more questions for Maureen? No? Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen.
Doug?
Good evening, everybody. All right, for us, some good news, we were able to backfill the position for the watershed conservation specialist, been open for about a year now after Tyler left for Ag and Markets. New person, Haley Brown, she's coming to us from the DEC for a couple of years worth of experience there, grew up on a dairy farm, and is gonna be focusing on our AEM, Ag Environmental Management Program, specifically on water quality, planning, grant stuff, data collection, a lot of stuff like that. So anxious to have her. She's been on board for a little over a week now and doing a great job. So she fits in with everybody. So happy to have her. This year, I know a lot of times people talk about cover crops, and it's going to be a tough year for those. Some are going in. A lot got done early when the silage came off for corn, but fields are pretty wet. So one question we are getting is how's it going to look this year for cover crops? Because cover crops are planted to protect the soil going into the winter, but with a lot of corn and a lot of beans are still standing. So it's going to be hard to get onto those fields and get something in time planted and then allow it to grow. Like our deadline cutoff for the grant reimbursements, October 15th. So that's already passed. Some people may still try to do it on their own, but it's going to be a tough year. Good news is a lot got planted early, but it's unfortunate. These little bit of rains and saturated ground, people don't want to get into their fields and beat it up a little bit. Like, it's just too wet to even get some of the beans off. Some are still coming off slowly but surely, but yeah, they're working at it. For us, construction wise, we've been still working with Town of Brutus, doing some FEMA projects, knocking those out, stream bank protection, and then also still working with the fire lane projects that we've been working on around Owasco Lake. So we just wrapped up a large project there and are just moving through our system and through our list. So we have 10 different fire lanes that we're working with. We got plans for them all and contract signed with them, and we're just gonna knock them out as the weather continues. I mean, those are good projects we can do in the wintertime, provided we have access down the fire lanes. And then finally, we're just waiting on one remaining grant from the climate resilient farming proposals we put in. We're optimistic we'll at least get one of the three that we put in, but they were pretty large proposals. I mean, one was just about a little over $1 million. It was 1.125. Be surprised if that gets funded just due to the sheer size of that being 25% of the whole program. But we're optimistic about at least one.
Awesome. Any questions for Doug?
I think we know what the question is.
Well, no, it's not
Weed
about.
harvesting's done.
Weed harvesting. Yeah, any updates on the Sterling Trail and what's going on there with the snowmobile / or at the turn?
With that culvert?
Yeah, with the culvert. So any progress?
And I can follow up with our guys.
Okay,
Robbie.
thanks. And thank you for doing those reports for us up there in the bay.
Just a quick question, and I'm glad you filled your watershed specialist position. I'm curious, I just to give you, refresh my memory about your staff, your ADM staffing.
Right.
What is, how many program staff do you have for ADM?
That's the main one right there.
That's-
The other two staff between Jason Cutterback, our grazing specialist, and Robbie Krieger. He is filling in because he took Brian's position. Brian Hall formerly went to the DEC.
Okay.
So we're just trying to fill some of those.
Perfect, thank you.
So she'll be dedicated to it.
Great.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Dan?
Good evening, everyone. Just a couple things for my report. I want to mention working with county staff and the Soil Water Conservation District. We had the household hazardous waste pickup on October 21st. And just under 300 people come through and bring all sorts of interesting things in this year. So some things you would expect, other things not so much. And then we've also hired a 4-H issue leader to provide a little more focus and direction to our 4-H program, help to broaden that offering and also to respond to a lot of changes that are happening due to COVID and youth involvement in organizations and all that. So Tiffany Vasquez is the person we hired. Tiffany started her 3rd week now, started on October 19th. She has a master's degree from Cayuga and had a pretty extensive background on more of the human service side of youth development. So we're getting her trained up on the 4-H specific things. So that's all I have tonight. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Dan? Nope. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Karen, tourism?
Hello, good evening. You've got my report. I don't have too much that I don't feeling to call out on it. We've just been busy with a lot of year-end related reporting and getting ready for next year. We had a very successful frontline fam trip for the fall that headed towards the Cayuga Lake area. We visited Union Springs, Aurora, a couple of the wineries, and we had good attendance, and we were very glad to have a couple of representatives of the Finger Lakes Tourism Alliance come with us. It's good for the region to learn about what's going on in the county. So it was a success. We can look forward to continue and hopefully hosting some of you guys on the trips one of those times. Everything for the rest of the year is looking pretty good. We continue with our fam trips and reaching out to our media representatives. The PR manager that we onboarded in July is doing an excellent job of keeping up with our contracts, our public relations contracts, as well as those that we participate in the region as well as state level. So we're very excited to see her coming through. She's getting ready to do her PR plan for 2024, which is the first time we'll be able to offer that to our board of directors because we just have our first manager on board. There's a lot of exciting things going on. Any questions?
Chris?
Solar eclipse. How many people are projected to come in for that event here? I know you said 500,000 to Rochester.
Rochester is the central part of it, and the ones doing the most promotion and marketing. It's hard to tell. I mean, it's a lot of speculation. We recently did an outreach to our hotels to see what their occupancy level is at those. Unfortunately, a lot of the properties were like, wait, what are you talking about? What is this? What's going on? Although we have repeatedly been sending out notifications via our emails and our newsletters specifically targeted towards the lodging partners, and you know how difficult it is to get people to read what you send them sometimes. So we're following up with phone conversations and letting them know to be prepared. So we have not seen a lot of reservations hitting the books yet, but they will be coming. It's hard to tell. And a lot of people will just be coming through the area during that time. And that's what I mentioned at another legislative meeting, that we need to think about emergency services. Yeah, just be prepared with a lot of tow trucks or cars getting into fields that they're not supposed to be there, parking lots. Several campgrounds will be opening early. As I mentioned, Fairhaven Beach State Park is one of the state parks that will be opening early to host the interest. I don't know the numbers of reservations they've had. I don't have those handy. I'm happy to share them when I get them. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting.
What is the date on this again? I'm sorry.
April 8th, I believe.
Thank you.
Yep, 2024. Yep. And I believe it's around 2-3 p.m. that it will be full.
Oh.
Totality, complete totality.
We're pushing to get the schools closed early that day because we're concerned. I know the union's working on it because we're concerned about what will happen if there's a lot of school buses on the road while this is going on.
Yeah, like I mentioned, a couple of the school districts that we've heard of have closed for the day.
Yeah.
What time?
Around 3 to 4 p.m. I forget exactly the minutes. But I think it's something, I mean, significant in totality, so exciting.
All right, anything else? Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Pretty at gyms.
All right, resolutions are all,
do that.
resolutions are all taken care of. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move it.
And second.
Second, Basile, I want to stay with this Kristen.
Bobby, don't forget, just, this committee will be meeting on December 6th. Again.
December 6th. All right, planning.
Yep.
All right, planning committee, December 6th.
Budget.
Budget.
Good question, okay, Mark? Yeah, she's gonna be focusing